This news was circulating around the internet last night. I saw it. It is from Ricky or Ricky Scoops. He is a guy on Twitter that has gotten quite a few things right, right? Like he has announced several free agency signings, several extensions. I'm not sure whether or not that he's plugged in to a certain extent, but normally people end up reading these tweets and having a bit more trust than just a random anonymous account, since he does have a pedigree of particularly being on point. But Ricky said, and this is all like his take, scroll on down and like you'll see it's definitely going viral, has 224,000 views on X. He said that James Cook has asked the Bills for a deal in line with Saquon Barkley's current contract. However, Bills have countered with a significantly lower offer and have made it clear that they won't reset the running back market. So, folks, I do got to tell you, I did follow up with my source, and this is untrue. So be careful with what you believe on the internet. And let's talk about where I think the James Cook contract negotiations are going. I don't have any inside information. I have no idea of what Buffalo's mindset is going into these negotiations. But here's my thought. Right now, Buffalo is currently sitting at 32nd ranked in the league for available cap spend. And I do think that there are a couple of things that Buffalo could do to create even more money, to give us an insurance policy in case we need to make some free agency transactions prior to the trade deadline / prior to what have you. So extending James Cook would get that done. Right now, he has a cap hit of around $4.5 million. He has $5 million to his contract paid out in salary. Zero guarantees. So that's going against the cap immediately. If Buffalo were to elect to extend James Cook, they could turn that base salary and significantly mitigate that cap hit in 2025 and create some space. That would be an option, plus restructuring Dion Dawkins, plus restructuring Dawson Knox, although that I have a feeling that Buffalo is experimenting with a world where Knox wouldn't be a Buffalo Bill next offseason because we have an out on his contract. What I think Buffalo wants to do is see what we have in Jackson Hawes, see if he could be that blocking tight end that could fill his role at a much more affordable contract. But that's one reason why I think Buffalo truly is considering it. Again, I have no inside information about this. I have not heard anything of the status of said conversations. All I know is that this statement from Ricky is completely false. So do not take this and run with it. Don't take this and run with it. I'm very curious to see. I'm very, very curious to see how Buffalo is going to value a player like this. And one thing I will say about James Cook, many of us, including myself, have put a lot of weight into the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills, right? And it was all up until I started watching some film where I kind of ended up backtracking on that take. Sure, I'd say this offensive line has played a big factor. But what Cook brings to the table with his elite vision, all right, with his speed on the outside, he has that dual threat where he's also able to make plays specifically in the pass catching side of things. It's definitely pretty good with James Cook. I'm not going to lie to you. Many of us forget last year that Josh Allen had a broken hand for about half of the season. And I will tell you that I am not convinced that Buffalo would have been able to win some of those games as QB1 was dealing with a broken hand. I'm talking about that Miami game where was all James Cook. Same thing with that Jaguars game, was all James Cook. Several other games were the James Cook show, and that largely had to do with Josh Allen basically playing with one hand in 2025. That's not exclusively offensive line. You know that running back is bringing something to the table. One other common thing that we often hear is, oh, Cook is not a third down running back, or he is not a 3-down back. Based off of what we heard from Joe Brady yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, and this could just be coach speak, but I actually think he's onto something, and I actually think he's being sincere about all of this. He said that James Cook is more than capable of running at third down. We don't not see James Cook out at third down opportunities because he is incapable of being a 3-down back. We want to make sure that we preserve James Cook because of the threat that he brings to the table. It sounds like to me that Brady looks at James Cook as a weapon that he just wants to utilize in first and second down situations because of his impact in the game. He has all the trust in the world that he could be a 3-down back and be equally effective, be that red zone guy. But it sounds like that Brady values Cook's production to this offense so much. That's why he uses Ty Johnson. That's why he uses Ray Davis. He's really buying into this running back by committee approach, and that's not a bad thing. But I'm not so much convinced that if James Cook were on a different team and he was asked to be a 3-down back, that he would just all of a sudden not be good anymore. That's not the case here. So, me personally, I would not be upset with Cook getting a contract. I still reserve this theory that I do not believe. I don't believe that he cares about average annual value because that's BS. And so I feel like we shouldn't be paying attention to the average salary per contract. That's for damn sure. But more so guaranteed money. So I think what would get it done for James Cook, and this is just a speculation. Again, I have no inside information on this whatsoever. What I think would get it done would be a 3-year extension, $36 million in total, $30 million guaranteed. That's what I think he cares about. I think he cares about guarantees far more than just some magic number that says, oh, if, for example, you're on this team by year 3 or you hit these certain escalators that are not 100% confirmed, then you would make $45 million. No. What I think he's looking for is guarantees. So a 3-year extension of the first 2 years guaranteed and then an out after the second year. So I personally think could be done.